It's in this room.
Okay, why don't I just stay
No, over here.
Yeah, I just don't.
Thank you.
Right here?
Anywhere.
Am I in the way?
Nope.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here this morning. Let me tell you, this is a big treat because at this time, even earlier, I'm usually making breakfast for our guests. So this morning is the other way around. So thank you very much for having me. Okay, like Ray, trying to remember names here, has said, I've been on the Heritage Committee for 10 years. It was the first, when we first moved here, I was just flabbergasted at the beautiful buildings that the town has, the architecture, the town square, and Brockville was one of the reasons that we chose to run a bed and breakfast. It was because of the town when it comes down to it. So when there was an advertisement on the Brockville city website for people to sign up for committees, I signed up with the Heritage Committee, and I never looked back, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. During those 10 years, I was just a member helping out with designations, activities that we do. And then 4 years ago, our chairperson, Paul Bullock, stepped down, and I was approached to take over the position of chair. We were in hiatus for a good 4 years, and we finally resurfaced last year, and with a big mandate in front of us. And for a while there, I thought, well, do I want to take this on? Don't I, and I'm running a business, and I thought, yes, I'm going to take it on, and I'm going to see this group through. So, our mandate is, that was given to us in response to the housing shortage. The government has produced Bill C-23, which we will have to go through a list of registered of properties that are on the registry list. There's over 50 of them. So we have two lists. We have a designated list, which is a list of properties that are already designated, and we have another list of properties that are just of interest. So we are in the process right now of going through the list of the properties that are on the registry and going through them each one and following a criteria. So we look at these houses or buildings and we look at them and we follow the criteria. Now, is there historical value? We look at the architecture. We look at the architect that did the building. Did he do other buildings in town? Buildings outside of Brockville? We look at the people who owned the places. What was their, were they community people? What did they do for the community? A good example of that would be the Fulford family. They were very good to the community. They were very important. Another example would be the Smart family, the Buell family, etc., etc. So aside from our monthly meetings, which take place the third Wednesday of each month, we formed a working group. And we get together and we look at this list, we look at each house, each building that's on the registry, and from there we create a report. Now these reports will go to planning, and then they will go to council, and they will decide whether or not these places should be designated. And in the process, we converse, we have a conversation with the owners. I like to make it clear that we're not the final stamp. We are just an advisory committee. So if people, for example, have, let's say, a house that's, I don't know, 200 years old, and they want to do, it's designated, and they want to do changes to the front, or they want to do an addition to it. A good example is 22 Courthouse on the corner, which it's a law office right now, and it used to be the men's club, from what I understand. They came to the committee with Prince because they wanted to add, and I know how familiar you are with that building, they wanted to add an extra entrance where the that causeway is between the home and the post office. I don't know how many of you have seen this. Well, they've come to the committee. We looked at it. They showed us the prints, and we said absolutely. You know, it is sympathetic to the existing entrance that's there now. And if you take a look, they did a fabulous job on that. So they came to us just for an advisory. If we would have seen on the print, this really doesn't, this is going to throw off the whole facade, then we would say, in our opinion, we would not say you cannot do this. So we are not the final stamp. And sure enough, it looks fantastic.
Sorry, I guess I'm backtracking a bit, but do people make application for their home to become heritage? Is it under legislation? Is it a city bylaw?
It's a bylaw. It's city.
It's
if
city
you want your
bylaw.
house to be designated,
If we want, so you make application?
you go through Heritage. You come to one of our
Oh, I
meetings,
see.
and then we start the process. But we do not have the final stamp.
Okay.
And there is criteria, you know, like I said.
So it doesn't force a review, it's somebody has to make application for their
If you want
property?
your house, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If they-
Yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't, like I say, when your house, the word designation has negative connotations to it. People step back and they think, oh, I can't do anything to it. If I get it designated, I can't do this, I can't do that. You can make changes inside, but on the outside, if your house is designated and you want to replace the, let's say the front porch, for example, or this example that I was using, there are proper channels to go through.
Okay, thank you, I was just wondering how they
Yeah.
became designated.
Other things that we do is, like I said, the group has not been active for about 3 years because of circumstances, COVID, etc. But as a chairperson now, I'm trying to bring the Heritage Committee back front and center. We're looking at Heritage Week, and we plan on doing an event, one-day event. It is still in the process. We have one speaker already that's signed up for it. We're looking for a couple more, and it'll be a one day where the community can join. They can meet us, meet the members, have discussion with us. Do you want to have your house designated, you know, or whatever questions they have, we will be there. We plan on having activities throughout the day, but nothing is confirmed yet. But as soon as we're set to go, we will have it on social media and newspaper, and people will be aware. Yes?
Can a property be undesignated?
Yes, it can. Yeah, I'm going to take
Tear it down.
We have,
Extreme.
let me tell you a little bit about our committee members. Right now, there's 7 committee members, and what's nice about this committee is the number of people that have come forward, and also younger people, which is, that's a good sign as far as I'm concerned, because I think I'm the oldest one there, or second oldest one there. And the rest of them, they're all young, and they have a They have wonderful backgrounds. For example, we have one member, and she has a PhD in history of education. We have one who is an architect. We have another one who is a historian in art and architect. We have a lawyer on board, and then the rest of us have been there for 10 years almost. So to me, this makes a perfect recipe for a heritage committee, because you need all these different backgrounds for information, for learning how to find out the architectural features of a building. Because in Brockville, as you know, there's Edwardian, there's Victorian, there's arts and crafts. So it's nice to have people on the committee that can say, oh, by the way, guys, this building has this feature. This is important. Okay, any other questions?
What's the benefit to getting your home designated? Like, what benefit is there to the owner?
It's first of all, pride of ownership. Stewardship. A pride in having a building that you're preserving history. You know, you're putting that whole building, in my opinion, like in a time capsule. And these are the people, the families that have built this. This is how they contributed to the community. This building, just the special features on it, that today can be replaced, but not using the same materials, obviously, because things change. Thanks.
Ida, is there a certain age of a building that it can be considered heritage? So a 50-year-old or 75?
Okay, no. Okay, it's interesting you asked that. We have on the registry list buildings that are not old, that we're looking at right now, that are 50 or 60. And you just have to look at the criteria. Do they fit the criteria?
Okay.
I won't put you on the spot here, but can you comment on the consistency of enforcing our heritage bylaws? And we have some of the grandest historic sites and buildings in the province.
Yes.
But we have a few real ugly ones that have ambassador's eyes. And I get this impression every time I drive through Perth on the way to Calabogie to help Andrew hunt properly. And I see some consistency on the entire downtown. They've had some hard bylaws that they've enforced, and there's very few little bad things that have been done. I look at Brockville, my hometown, and I see some bad things that have been done historically. And I feel a bit of like a hypocrite, because you're balancing the economic aspect and investment in jobs sometime to the maintaining of the heritage aspects of your community. And I've been on the other side, obviously, with my job, promoting the economic. And here I'm talking about now consistency of heritage stuff. So some have been done beautifully, and it blends in with what we're trying to say about our Brockville, oldest incorporated community in Upper Canada, and yet we have Woolworths buildings and things like so on.
Well, that's going to change soon.
I know. Could you comment on that? And I guess that's one of the pressures you must face in terms of your advocacy in keeping things historic. By the way, Larry's now not on council, so we have to put a finger to him. But but could you comment on that aspect? Not to. I know Paul used to come up and make some comments on some development that was going on, and he wanted to ensure it was following certain protocols in keeping the facade or something. And I know there may have been some frustrations.
I understand what you're saying, and you're right. If I walk downtown 2 or 3 times a day, and you're right. There are inconsistencies, and in my opinion, that just drives me up the wall. We have these beautiful buildings downtown, just incredible. And then you see, okay, for example, the Woolworth building, and I always think, why back then couldn't they continue? You can have a new build and make it look old. And I've always wondered, for example, why didn't they do that with the Woolworth building? So it's you know what? The best way to explain it, and I'm sure you can agree to this. It's a balancing act, right? Because you're right. You want people to come in, open up businesses, and bring money into the community. And at the same time, you want them to kind of marry into the look of the landscape.
Right.
Which brings me to another point, landscape. Landscapes can also be designated. Like you see that whole courthouse, that can be totally one area designated. You can have blocks of buildings designated. So I don't know if that answers.
Yes, it does,
But
yeah.
but I struggle with that all the time. Not only as a member of Heritage, but as a member of the community. I always struggle with that. That's because I think that is our buildings, our community. That's what brings people in to Brockville. I'm looking at it now from a tourist aspect. I run a bed and breakfast, and the first thing that people bring up is how amazing downtown is. The buildings, Courthouse Square, and they often refer to Courthouse Square as a New England type square. So I think that tells us a lot about Brockville. When you get people like that in the morning talking for hours during breakfast, talking about Brockville and the waterfront and the buildings, just these buildings that are 200 years old, they're amazed by it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any grants or programs to help homeowners?
Okay, good question. There used to be a grant. I think it was called
Heritage Grant.
there was another one too. It was $22,000, I think, for the facade. There aren't any grants right now, and that is one thing that people, when we approach them about destination, that is one of their concerns. If they want to, if they're designated, they want to fix, say, a certain part of the front of the building or a home, are there any grants that they can have? Right now, there isn't. And also, some people are concerned with their taxes. So there are a couple of concerns that these people have. And we don't push. We don't, you don't want your place, that's fine.
Any other, yes, Tom?
A few years ago, Dave Paul was repairing the siding of his house and painting it. I'm just wondering if you pre-approved his workmanship.
Sure.
Or just a place of interest.
Ray?
So, what's the implications to the homeowner if it's a place of interest and not a designation?
Sorry, I didn't.
What's the implications to the homeowner if your home is a place of interest versus I guess, are there any implications to be a place of interest?
There's
No restriction whatsoever. Okay.
Perfect.
And if a place, sorry, did I interrupt?
No, go ahead, Ken.
When a place of interest, is that a place of interest because the community, the city has said that's a place of interest, or is it because the homeowner has said, you should be considering my home as a...
This was the list, and this was way before my time. I don't know if you can answer to that, Larry. Our list of registry list of homes. I think there's about 60 of them right now. Did council at that time have any say in that? Or was it
There was
just
an
a
application
hearing?
process at the time.
Okay, so that's driven by the homeowner.
Yes.
I would think that if a homeowner wanted to make a change and they had to submit for building permit, that process would then engage the Heritage Committee.
It used to.
It used
Yeah,
to?
for
Is
sure.
not- yeah. I don't know if it still
Yeah,
does.
if it's designated, if the place, it does, because that was the house, that was the, on Courthouse 22, the lawyer's office where they did the added on a separate entrance.
Ida, are you staying around
Yes.
after the meeting? So Ida will be around after the meeting if I have any questions. I think we'll cut it off here, and I'm going to ask Kim Ross if he would be kind enough to thank Ida for the presentation.
Well, thank you very much, everyone.
Well, we have a gift. It's a book that's going to be donated to the Maynard Public School in your honor for your presentation today. So Christmas with you. Well, we enjoyed
Well,
your
thank you very much for having me.
very much so.
Perfect. Look
So
at
there you
that.
go. This one, Larry?
Yes.
All right, there you go. That's your book.
For about 2 minutes.
Good
job, Larry.
We're too tall.
I'm so
every day,
short.
No, no, there we go.
Dress them every day.
Perfect.
No.
Ida, thank you very, very much. I was telling Ida that I was actually on the Heritage Committee for quite a long time, maybe 15 years, from the mid-90s into 2000. And I don't know, and Dave may be able to help with this, but I believe that if you drive around Kingston, you drive around Brockville, you drive around Perth, the reason people come to some of those places is really because of the heritage. And the strength of the Heritage Committee in Brockville for many, many years, I believe, helped protect the heritage that we have here. And so the job that you have is the chairman of the Heritage Committee. It's a long-standing, very important committee in Brockville, I believe, and I think, congratulations for carrying that on, because it is something that's very important. Kim?
Yeah, I have a cousin, and he was an architect, and Brockville was part of their studies. The architecture here is very important learning tool for them. So.
Perfect. Yes.
If you have the chance, you should go into the Sir Isaac Brock D&D. It is spectacular. I remember meeting Ida in 2013, but they've done it really, really well.
Yes,
A lot
you're
of
all welcome to just give me a call and I'll give you a tour.
And where is it?
It's on Church Street. It's a 200-year-old home almost.
Nice.
Yeah. I
Nice.
think it's the second oldest in Brockville.
Very good. That's great. So, yes.
I see the value in the Heritage Committee, and there's been a few misses maybe, and I don't know if they have the opportunity to deal with that, but, the Trinity Church, for instance, there never could be an economical way of dealing with that building, but it was a huge, beautiful heritage building, and then, there's also one in front of the museum that got tore down, I thought could, in the future, have made a beautiful building, industrial building, and made a museum.
Yes.
So I think there's been a few misses where, I think there could have been more done in the city for that, but I'm just throwing that out there.
Oh, I think you're probably right. 50-50. Great.